your main event. Introducing the hosts of Wrestling with Freddie, Jeff Dye, and Freddie Prinze Jr.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the final episode this season of Wrestling with Friends. Mr. Jeff Dye is here, and if you get to see the little clips that we post on social media, he's looking like Sheamus right when they hit him with the spotlight.
The sun is bright in Sherman Oaks, let me tell you.
Send it my way, man. It looks like it's going to friggin' rain over here. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. I've been cracking up while Jeff tries to fix the glaring sun that's blasting through his window, and it hasn't been going well, and we'll leave it at that. But we had the Super Bowl on Sunday. I had two buddies who actually got to go to the Super Bowl and watch the butt whooping that took place. I'm a Raiders fan, so fuck both those teams, to be honest.
Yeah.
But Jeff, did you watch the Super Bowl? Did you have fun?
I watched Super Bowl at a friend's house. The right team won. I'm not like a huge Eagles fan or anything. It's just when a team that hasn't won a Super Bowl in my memory wins, I get happy for them. I'm like, good for the Chiefs that they won a Super Bowl. And then when that same team wins 2 years in a row, I go, all right, we're getting a little greedy. And then if they try to win 3 times in a row, I go, they're not an underdog that I want to root for anymore. Now this is just unless it's my team. If it's my team, I want them to win 10 times in a row. But I didn't want to see the Chiefs win 3 years in a row. And so, it's not fun to watch. So I was rooting for the Eagles, happy about that, even though the game was boring.
That's a very consistent opinion for you, because you prefer Cody Rhodes' story to the title than post-title. So you do like an underdog in a story, and that's consistent. I like that very much.
Have you ever been to a Super Bowl, Freddie?
No, I don't think so. I've been to a World Series. I've been to WrestleMania. I don't really watch hockey, so I've only been to like a random game, like a Kings game. But it was fun to go to a Kings game, like an actual hockey game. I guess a lot of people who don't like wrestling, if they go to an actual like event, they really like it. That was hockey for me, but I haven't been to their finals. And I think I've never been to the Olympics. No Super Bowl. But Sarah's been to like 3 Super Bowls. She almost went to this one too. Yeah. My buddy Macaulay went. You guys know Macaulay Culkin. He's a big wrestling head. He went to the Super Bowl this year and missed fucking game night, which is bullshit. Nah, for real, man, that shit makes me mad. But I hope he had fun. And my buddy Rio was out there in New Orleans. I made
Rio's
a movie down there.
I like that guy.
Yeah, Rio's a good dude, man. Rio's a really good dude. I love that city, though. So if anybody in New Orleans is listening, I got nothing but love for you, baby.
Let me share this Super Bowl story with you guys.
Yeah.
When the Seattle Seahawks played the Denver Broncos in New York for the Super Bowl, I went and sat front row.
No way.
This is me in the confetti of the Super Bowl when the Seattle Seahawks won. And let me just tell you.
What jersey is that? What jersey is that?
Marshawn Lynch, the star of our team, who should have been the MVP 2 years in a row. Now, you'd think all my friends in Seattle, all my friends in Los Angeles, all my friends around the world see me on Instagram and go, look at Jeff Dye living his best life. He's got money now. He has a career now. He got to be in the front row when the Seattle Seahawks won the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm talking about.
It isn't better. I spent a ton of money. I was cold. I only got to be with like one of my friends. All my friends that are like envying me, they're at their house with 40 of my other friends, jumping around, hugging each other, loving that the Seahawks won the Super Bowl. It wasn't worth bragging that I went to the Super Bowl and spent all this money. It's better to be with the ones you love and just enjoy. Sure, I went. Who cares? They got to be like, they spent $0. They got to eat all these snacks and treats and drink, and they got to be together. It's much, much, much better to just enjoy the game on television. Let me tell you.
I thought it was going to be a happy story. It
is a happy story.
Sad story.
It means everybody else
tried
did
to
it right.
bankrupt your ass.
No, but everyone.
Okay, that's
it means like you don't have to like think. You think to yourself when you look at Instagram, oh, it must be better to be there. It isn't. It's better.
The picture sort of makes it look like that. You're covered
that's the only part I get out of it is that I get to brag that I went to this thing. But who cares? We got to grow out of that bragging crap.
Well, we went to a friend's house. All our kids are friends, and or my son is friends with their kids. My daughter just knows them, but they all love my daughter. She's a cool chick. So my daughter and I got in the 280Z, and we cruised to the valley to their new house. Their house burnt in the Palisades fire. So this was kind of them saying, "Hey, please come and check us out at our new house."
They already got a new house. That was a fast transition.
They're renting. They're renting a house. And so we went over there. I went in and I was meeting new people, which is always awkward. And one of the moms brought nachos, and she had some nachos there. Nobody was touching the nachos. And I was like, well, I'll be a nice guy, man. I'm trying to watch what I eat, but I didn't want her to be bummed. And so I go and one of the guys that I met is walking over at the same time, but he's going for some pretzels. And I grab some nachos off the plate and I eat them. And this dude, I just met this dude, and he goes, "Hey man, did you want these?" And he offers me some tongs. And I'm like, "Oh, bro, like, come on, man. That's how you're going to do me. Like, I just met you and you just put your hand in the pretzel bowl. Like, what's going on? Like, this is how we're going to like get off." And I was like, "Oh my man, I didn't even see that. I'm real sorry. I'll make sure to use it next time for you." And he was like, okay. And he set it down. And I was like, well, we're not going to be bros.
No
like, that's
way,
impossible from this. And how do you do that to someone you just met, man? Like, he saw how careful I was. I grabbed a chip. I didn't even want any nachos.
I would have overcorrected. I'd have been like, "Oh, you're right.
Well, yeah, next time. But no, I
Hand
was trying to be a
sanitizer?
nice
Do you want
guy.
some hand sanitizer? I noticed you're by the food table."
My man literally went in the pretzel bowl and then tried to germ shame me. But I took it in stride. That's why I never go out ever. And I never want to meet new people. But party out. We still had fun. We had a good time and watched the Super Bowl. I wanted a little more from the Kendrick Lamar halftime show. To be honest, I definitely wanted more. I didn't think it was his best stuff, but I think he's about to go on tour. So he was like, "Man, this is a rehearsal for when I go on tour this summer and then do my thing." Well, it's not like they pay him all that much to do this.
They don't
Super
pay him
Bowl
anything.
show.
You know, they make zero for the halftime show.
Yeah, so I don't get too mad at him if they're like, "Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to make sure my dancers get paid and I'll take it out of my own pocket and get the exposure and we'll reherse. It'll be a dress rehearsal."
Exposure. What a silly word. What a most
artists
overrated
should be paid.
word ever. I will say this, though. I liked the halftime show. I thought it was great. I thought it was fun to watch. It was entertaining. I didn't understand Sam Jackson's character during it. What was he? Was he playing the guy from Django Unchained or something? What was he doing?
No, he wasn't. You know how like in rap records in the 90s they had like skits in between?
No, I get the skit.
songs?
I didn't get the character. It's like, why'd they do this?
I don't know.
What's the message? Some sort of anti-American, like we don't like hip-hop?
No, well, people get pissed off at hip-hop.
Everyone loves hip-hop. We all like it. We pretend to like it. No one talks shit about it.
No, the hip-hop everyone's comfortable with. But like a lot of the Kendrick lyrics come under a lot of criticism. A lot of criticism still to this day.
We must live in different worlds. I don't know anyone who would even have the balls to say they don't like hip-hop.
You got to remember, man,
circles.
It wasn't even until like it was 1960 or I think it was 1960 when you could like do drugs and have sex in movies. Like that was illegal to do it before that. So some people just trip and hold on for a very long time, and some people hold on too long. And some people that are super chill and actually dig hip hop and are like, "Yeah, this is fucking good."
Yeah,
so
but what you just named was 65 years ago.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that wish we would go back to those times, man.
I don't know anybody. It's 80 years old watching the Super Bowl going, "What's with this hippie hoppy? What is the hippie hoppy? Who is this guy?"
Exactly. They're getting upset and they want to be heard. They're tired of being ignored, the retired portion of our population.
Grandpa,
they're tired.
Shut up.
Well, I agree. They should do old man skits in hip hop records, actually. That would be. Do you remember the one in the Ice Cube one where the guy, he's got this guy in a dentist chair? And he's like,
I don't
"Hey,
remember.
all right, buddy, just sit back in the chair here. We're gonna fix your teeth." And the guy's like, "Oh, okay, great. You're gonna fix my teeth?" He's like, "Yeah, just lay back. Got some Novocaine here, and brace yourself. And all of a sudden you just hear a real gunshot. And it like made everybody in my car jump because I had like a 6 stereo system. And it was fucking great. That's when I started loving sketches and hip hop records. But anyway, it's our final episode of the season, you guys. And because you guys are awesome and you listen to us even when we talk about hip hop and even when we argue about the decency of people, you guys still show us love. So we're going to be back for season 5 and we're going to come back just in time for WrestleMania. Jeff, how's the weekend, bro? How was? Well, I already asked you how Super Bowl was, but how was your weekend?
I was in Denver, did some shows at the Bug Theater, which was really nice, and then got to hang out with my buddy Josh Nelson. Shout out to him, and my buddy Brant Tobler. Shout out to him.
Hey, didn't I meet Josh?
Yeah, Josh is.
Yeah, that guy was super
one of my
cool.
Best friends. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah, he was really nice.
And then came home in time to catch the Super Bowl, so it was a very chill weekend, but it was great. And Denver was cold.
Yeah, I don't think Josh would trip on me for the nacho faux pas. But party
None
on.
of my friends would. Yeah, we don't care at all.
Alex, please take over and drive the card.
I got you. I got a couple questions here. I'm going to let everyone know who asked it, and I'm going to tell it to you. You guys answer the best you can. This first one's coming up from Rainbow Goodness. Freddie and Jeff, give me 3 AEW talents you would love to see in WWE and 3 WWE talents you would love to see in AEW.
Oh, wait, we got to switch them over?
Yeah, we got to trade 3 for 3. Let's do this together if you want. We'll come up with 3 together.
I will say that it's hard because we're currently in a time period, which everything changes, where WWE's definitely winning the battle. So it'd be hard to move guys from WWE to AEW at this point. But let's
that'll be the challenge. But we'll just come up with 3 combined, and that'll make it a little bit easier. All right. First off, I can do the first one. I would love to see Will Hobbs with the WWE power behind him. To see what WWE has done with Penta, who was really underbooked. I don't know if that's a term. I'm just creating it now, or it's just not a word. But you guys know what I'm trying to say.
No, you're right. Underutilized,
underbooked. And to see what they've done with him in just like 3 short weeks is night and day as far as how the perception of someone is, right? We have a perception that changes. When we look at everyone else's perception, we gain perspective. And I think now everybody can kind of have a stronger perspective on the talent that Penta has because we've seen 2 different sides of it now. So I'd like to see them try that with someone like Roy Hobbs, who could like pick up anybody and just throw him out of the ring. He could probably throw me 4 rows deep like Hogan did Rocky Balboa and Rocky 3.
I'd like to see that. I'd like to see him throw.
You want to see me get thrown out of the fucking ring?
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. I'd like that spot. I'd say I got to go with my boy and he got thrown 4 rows.
Great. Yeah, thanks. I'll be hurt and injured. So you go now, and then I'll try to come up with a third one.
My prediction my move is also a prediction. I believe that MJF is going to come to WWE. Now, I also wonder if MJF will shine as brightly in WWE. I know that he's got all the chops and talent and words and mic work and muscles and ability and in-ring performance. He lacks size. He's not a very tall, big guy. And I wonder if maybe that's what keeps him comfy over in AEW is the lack of height. But I would love to see if he could be a gigantic star over in WWE. And, I mean, Cody Rhodes, at least from my perspective, was just searching for to be a big star for so long. And now it's finally happened. I couldn't have predicted how big Cody Rhodes would get in WWE. I would have never foresaw that. So I wonder if MJF watches that and goes, I wonder if that could be me over there. Like, I'm much more talented, in Jeff's opinion, than Cody Rhodes. So maybe he thinks, hey, that should be me over there.
I like your speculation, sir. I like it very much. All right, I think for the final one that I'd like to see, and this is more because I can't think of the way to do it off the top of my head. And remember, all these questions, I'm not pre-reading these. I didn't even know which ones we were doing. I was reading the wrong ones.
I think it's better that way.
So bear with me on this, but I think I would try to see what they could do with Orange Cassidy. because I have no idea how they would book him. And I think that would be the challenge that I would present them, right? Like if I'm Orange Cassidy and they're like, yo, we dig you, man, your contract's up, you should come over here. He should like put it back on them and be like most artists should. Well, what's the plan? Show, like, what are you going to do? Because I'd be interested to see what their vision of him is. Because to me, he's such an AEW guy that I can't initially see him in WWE getting a push that would be equal to the push he's received in AEW. But I'd be damn interested to see what they could do. They took Jey Uso from a tag team guy that was way overlooked, and they were, mid-card, to headlining WrestleMania soon. So they can do something with Orange Cassidy. How's that, Alex? You satisfied with that answer?
Actually, let me interrupt real quick.
Go ahead. You got a fourth?
Well, here's the thing. I disagree with you.
Oh.
And I've said a lot of controversial things on this podcast. I'm about to say the most controversial thing on this podcast that I've ever said.
Okay, what?
I don't want to see Orange Cassidy anywhere except like house shows. I think the first time you see Orange Cassidy, it's the funniest, coolest thing you've ever seen. And then the second time you see Orange Cassidy, you nudge your buddy and go, oh, this is great. Watch this. You're going to love this. And then the third time you see Orange Cassidy, you go, big whoop. The fourth time you see it, you go, I don't care anymore. The fifth, I just don't care anymore. So I wouldn't want to see Orange Cassidy really anywhere. So I'm taking that pick away.
I totally disagree with you. I was the complete opposite on that. When I first saw him, I didn't get him. I didn't want to get him. I thought it was hokey, but I thought the same thing with Bebe when I first saw Adam Cole. And then eventually I came around, and then eventually I was like, dude, Adam Cole's sick on the mic. And that's kind of how it hit with Orange Cassidy. It started off where I was like, what is he doing, man? What's with these soft fake kicks? Like, why is he doing that? And now when I watch it, I'm like, yo, that's mad funny. I got to show my friends this.
Well, there's a difference between music and jokes, right? Like when you go see Creedence, you want to hear all the hits. You like to hear music. And wrestlers are musicians. You want to see them wrestle. You want to see the music. But with like comedy, right? You can't hear the same joke over and over. We got to have new jokes. And I think that Orange Cassidy's a comedian. He's a joke. So it's like, I've seen the joke. I get the joke. What else do you got? I want to see more music and less joke.
I get it. I think he has a pretty good balance of it. It's real limited when he does. He just does it once a match. And the sunglasses thing is cool as shit. I don't care what anybody says. This shit is just badass when the ref pulls him out of the referee's pocket or puts him in your pocket. That's just fucking cool.
He's like small.
But I hear you. I know, but Rey Mysterio's small, and I love Rey. And Shawn Michaels is small as hell, and I love Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, I feel like he's doing like a Johnny Cage meets some sort of comedic. I like it. I'm fine with it, but I've seen it.
You just don't want to see it on WWE.
What else you got?
Well, now you're throwing me. You know what I want to see? I want to see Mercedes Moné go back to WWE.
Me too.
That's the one I would trade back. I haven't clicked with a single story they've done, and I think she's way cooler than how she's been portrayed. I think she's worthy of better stories than she's been given, and that's one I know you agree with. So we can
100%.
You vetoed me, bro.
I want her to get over. It doesn't mean no. You know, sometimes you see a wrestler not getting any response from the audience, and you like it. You go, good. I'm glad that person's not over or whatever. I don't enjoy watching her not get over. I like her when she's a star.
It's weird to hear an audience not be screaming her name or booing and cussing her name. And it has always been one or the other, and it's not right now, and I don't dig that. So boom, there you go.
The next one's coming from Peter Sears, and he says, who ultimately dethrones Cody?
Man, I was wrong on this. I thought he would have a little back and forth, but he's their new Cena. And it's really hard to bet against Cena unless there's an Orton there to kind of go back and forth with. And I guess there can only be one of those, so it has to be Roman, right? But is Roman going to be a full-timer and carry that weight all over again? Or is he going to try to make movies? So right now I'm going to say I don't mean this as a cop-out. Nobody. He's the new face. He's the new brand. I don't think he's going to lose it for a really long time. He's going to win WrestleMania and probably not lose it again until the next WrestleMania. So I think they'll find ways to do stories the way they have. The Kevin Owens thing, Cody went from having no story to a really cool one with Kevin Owens, so they can do it. But yeah, I'm going to say 0 people. What about you, dude?
That's tricky. I do think anybody that I could see taking it away from Cody is already kind of too famous and in a way moving on, or at least becoming kind of part-time, like the Romans and the Cenas. Like they've kind of all moved on, right? And I don't see anybody, this is another kind of mean but controversial thing to say, is that like I'm not that excited about Jey Uso and Gunther. Like that does nothing for me.
I love Jey, dude. I think Jey's money.
No, I like both those guys. I like all the wrestlers, but that's not a WrestleMania story to me, Gunther and Jey Uso. And so
it's not as big a title as Cody's title.
I'm also not a Seth guy. Like I don't think he's gonna be as big as like a Cena or any of these guys used to be. So I definitely agree with you. Like I don't know who could take it from Cody. My only guess would be it's going to be one of these next guys who will slowly become the face, like a Braun Breaker or a LA Knight. I'm still holding on hope to LA Knight. One of these kind of next guys who will transcend into the face of the industry. Maybe an MJF.
What do you think about Braun Breaker winning the Royal Rumble next year, and then
I would love that.
Yeah, dude, I could see that happening.
He's a star,
for sure.
dude. Like just a star.
Yeah, I can see that. I heard he works mad hard too backstage, like on his promos and stuff like that. I heard his work ethic is like top shelf. All right, that's good. Well, we disagree on a lot of stuff, man, but I still love you, bro.
Not Orange Cassidy. I don't see him dethroning Cody.
We disagree on Seth, too. I think Seth's the man, but I hear you, dude. It just makes me cry on the inside.
This next one's coming from Nerd David. Freddie, out of all the characters you played on screen, which one would you like to play again, but in the world of pro wrestling? Which one of your movies would make the best pro wrestling storyline?
Man, that's tough, man, because, like, there's I Know What You Did is the easy answer, right? But if you think about it, Ray's not like the best fighter. He gets like one-shotted by Ryan's character. I don't remember his name, sorry. And he kind of gets beat up by the fisherman. I don't remember his name, sorry. And it's over 20 years ago, man.
Know,
be laughing
it's
at
like
me.
your career, and you go, I don't know.
You lucky I remember my guy's name. I only do because I'm actively shooting the sequel to it right now. Otherwise, I'd have been like, from Mark, Brian, Ryan, Ray. It's Ray. So I don't think that's the one, and I can't do the cartoons because that's cheating. That would be that Jedi that I played in the Star Wars cartoon thing.
That's your career. It counts. I think it counts.
But it's not a movie. He said movies, bro.
Okay.
So I'm going to go with the movie that nobody saw. Well, that like a few people saw because the Star Wars trailer was attached to it. But it was called Wing Commander. And this dude, his name... No, that sucks. I don't remember his name either. But he was like, he had this like power to like chart his way through space without a computer, without a navcom, right? And he had an AK-47 that was modified to look all futuristic, and he shot fools with it. So he would probably be the best guy to come in for me in the wrestling world and win. I'm not trying to just lose all the time. I'm not trying to be a jobber. I'm trying to be the champ. So I think that guy would have the best shot. But, man, I can't remember his name. That sucks.
What about the character you played where you killed that hot young chick and put her in a pool bin?
Oh, the girl in the pool, man, he was a bitch, bro. Like all he did was made soft decisions the whole time.
But that storyline, you'd be a pretty good heel,
It'd be a good storyline, that's for sure. You'd love to see him get his ass beat, that's for sure. Yeah, that's a good idea, Jeff. That's good.
This next one, I hope I don't mess this up, is coming from Kartik Mehra.
Yeah.
Hey, Freddie. Love your show. It's always a great listen prior to my boxing training on Fridays.
Oh, hell yeah.
Here's my question. What are your thoughts on AJ Styles' WWE Championship runs in 2016, 2017 with Mox and Cena? And do you see him having a bright moment soon again?
I remember it well because that was when he built the house that he built, which was SmackDown. And he had great championship matches against those guys. AJ's a lot older, So I think the story with AJ is like the Jimmy Connors Wimbledon story in the late 80s, early 90s, where he was basically retired and no one gave him any credit. Like, he wasn't even ranked at the Wimbledon tournament, and he wins his first match. Oh, that's a nice story. He's in his 40s, man. It's cute. He got one more, and then he won his next match, and everyone was like, God damn, Jimmy Connors won another fucking match at Wimbledon? Oh, well, this next guy is ranked like number 13, so he's going to fucking smoke him. And then all of a sudden, whap, whap, pow, whap, 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 but Jimmy Connors put it on his ass too. And they're like, hold the fuck on. Is Jimmy Connors going to go to the quarterfinals at fucking Wimbledon? And eventually everyone bought into this story. And then right when when America was behind him, you know, the age caught up to him, and it was just too many matches in too many days. And Jimmy Connors couldn't win the Wimbledon title that everyone, you know, thought he was going to. So I think that could be a really cool story for AJ Styles. The only reason I think that might not happen is because I think that's going to be the John Cena story, which is he keeps saying the championship 17, so I can hand it to the man that gets 18. And to have that, I think Cena's at a point in his career where he wants that tragic kind of ending instead of like the hero's ending, because he was the hero for so long. And he's changed a lot since I worked there. So that's why I think he sees like a cooler, unique story. And so I think that might be his storyline, where he loses a big match at WrestleMania and the other dude wins. So I don't know about AJ, but I think maybe you could give him something like that, because I think this is his final, like probably his last contract. What about you, Jeff?
I had hoped that AJ Styles would be he's the right age to be the next guy, as far as what we were just talking about. How I was saying, like, who's the next Cena? Who's the next Roman Reigns? And I thought AJ Styles was on track to be that kind of guy who just was, no matter what, you knew he was going to win. I'm not good at predicting these type of things, but I wouldn't mind seeing him dethrone Cody. I think that's maybe a guy I wasn't thinking of a second ago when I said that.
Be a sick-ass match.
He's so worthy, and I think he's paid his dues. Remember how much we wanted him to come over to WWE for so long, and then we got him, and he was getting pushed for, you know, years and years. But I don't know. I don't think he's done. So I think there's hope for sure. And I'd love to see him get that big push. I'm not good at predicting if it's going to happen, but I'd like to see it.
We blew that trivia question back in the day that Alex asked us on the Phenomenal one, and I went to Phenom and said Taker, and of course it was AJ Styles. All right, Alex, next.
This is coming from Hank Nizzle. How did you and Jeff meet? What's the story with how Jeff joined the podcast? The podcast is definitely better with him. I feel like you did this with your burner, Jeff. Love the Freddie Prinze sound effects too. I'm assuming that means when you're like body slamming people and talking about.
Oh, those are top shelf sound effects, man. That's like Michael Winslow's son. That's basically me.
Mexicans love to, I know you're Puerto Rican, but Mexicans, you know, are always speaking with their sounds, you know. Half of Fluffy's act is noises, you know. That's true. Half of the Spanish language is whistling, you know, so I think it's in
George Lopez has done that. I've heard it
that
in his
Latin that Latin.
My dad even did that. He'd do the whole "Mira, mami linda," oh yeah, and then do the whistle.
Cero, miro.
That was a good try. That's
we
funny,
met because he was a guest on my podcast, the Jeff Dye Friendship Podcast. We had a mutual friend, Josh Wolf.
That's right.
And I'm a fan of Freddie the same way everyone else is. And then so I was like, oh, dude, I'd love to have Freddie on my podcast. And Josh is like, dude, I know you and I know Freddie. You guys would be great friends. And so I was like, if you could set that up, that'd be awesome. And then I like to use this term. We fell into friendship, you know? The second I met Freddie, I was like, I love this guy. I'd hang out with him anytime. Like, I feel like, you know, you fall in love. I fell into friendship with Freddie. And then we just kept going back and forth talking about wrestling on our phones. And then here we are.
And now we're bros for life.
Sorry, dude.
Deal with it, America.
Nice. I love that. This next one is from Ian Kennedy. Good day, Freddie and Jeff. I listen to the podcast weekly. My son and I are off to Brisbane tomorrow to attend AEW Grand Slam.
Hell yeah.
We went to Perth for the Elimination Chamber. Have you thought about running the Federation in Australia? There's a large independent wrestling scene here. Last December, our local show in Canberra, Slam Wrestling, had over 2,000 people attend Rage in the Cage.
That's first of all, I love Australia, man. I've worked there a bunch. We did the first Scooby movie there, and we basically lived there for 6 months. That's how long it took to film movies back then. And I've been to Brisbane and had a lot of fun there. I've been to Sydney, had a lot of fun there. We filmed in the Gold Coast, had a lot of fun there. But that was more like old people. So it was like old school casinos where people were playing bingo and lots of golf. And I'm not into golf or bingo, so that wasn't quite my town. But I loved Sydney and Melbourne. I've never been to, but my wife's been there a bunch. My wife's even dove the freaking Barrier Reef in the 90s, man, like back in the day. My wife's more hardcore than people realize, man. She'd be jumping out of planes and shit if the family would let her. But anyway, I talked to a stunt guy when I was shooting. I know you did last summer down there, and he was talking to me about wrestling. He was like, dude, I listened to your podcast. I was like, fucking in Australia? That's badass, man. And, he was talking about big wrestling head, and he was saying the same thing. And him and I were kind of fantasizing about what a wrestling federation would look like in Australia. And I basically came to the conclusion where it's like, yo, what if I could like Braveheart, where he's like talking to Angus McFadden's character, and he's like, unite us, unite the clans. And that's what we came to. It was like, we got to get all the indie feds, unite them all, bring it all under one roof, and have that be the traveling one, so you can just combine all their fans into one. And I was like, man, if I actually lived down here, that would be an achievable dream. But living in Australia is just not an achievable dream for me in general. I like being in America. This is a cool ass country too. Australia's badass. I love working there, but I love being home. So it just wasn't a reality at the end of the day. And I wouldn't want to do it remotely, because that's a 1 foot in kind of thing, man. That's sort of a bitch move. And that I can't do that. I'm all in, or I'm all out. So yeah, I really love that question, and I would love to unite the clans, but Braveheart, I am not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of tough to move your family and everything to a whole different country
to chase my dream. We got listener reviews, Jeff. This first one's from Mark _ sorry, I didn't mean to mess up your name, bro. _ Mark. And the subject is Seth Rollins would be furious. And this fool gave us a 5-star review. So you know it's money. Here we go. Does anyone remember when Seth freaking Rollins, I love that he used the freaking in there, that when Seth freaking Rollins would talk about how the WWE needs a real champion, not someone who's a part-timer like Roman. We miss you, Jeff. I want to acknowledge you, but you're busy being a part-timer, bro. He called you a part-timer, but he loves you anyway. What's your response to Mark, dude?
First of all, Mark, thank you for the kind words before you dunked on me. I do love you, buddy. Well, you know what? Guess who's a part-timer in pro wrestling? The Rock. And do you get disappointed when he shows up? You don't. You go, oh my gosh, The Rock's here. You don't cry about all the times The Rock's not there. I'm doing my best. What it is I've never had success before, you know? So then with this new success, I'm managing it terribly. I'll go to the airport, and then they'll be like, oh, your flight's delayed 7 hours, and so then I've got to just miss an episode. So I'm doing my best. I am as committed as I can be. I love you, and I'm trying my best.
I second that emotion. And he would always be here, but a lot of times he's stuck circling the Burbank airport.
Dude, it's terrible. That's such a stressful feeling, too, because you can't text. When you're in the air, like they all these airplanes say they offer Wi-Fi. It's the worst Wi-Fi in the world.
You know the only Wi-Fi that works? And nobody ever gets to fly this airline because they only go like 1 or 2 places. Hawaiian Airlines.
Really?
The best dude, I fly a lot of friggin' airplanes. I just flew Qantas. Qantas was pretty solid. But there's a dead patch because you're going over the middle of nothing, right?
Oh, yeah.
But Hawaiian Airlines from LA to, and it also goes all the way to Atlanta, I think, sometimes, to Hawaii is 5-star internet. It's
Interesting.
the best flight attendants. the coolest captains. They talk to you. You don't miss shit. They're like, yo, there's whales. Check it out. And you're like, oh shit, there's whales. Like, they're so cool, man. I friggin' love Hawaii, and their seats are comfortable. And if you pay for first class, you don't get like screwed on a seat that is like just like 1 inch bigger. Like, they're actually bigger seats. So you'll see like big dudes and basketball players sitting up there, and they're like actually comfortable instead of like squished up. Like, we're taking my family to Hawaii because we didn't make the playoffs. It's always better that way. So yeah, so they have good internet. Thank you for the review, _A Mark, and we appreciate you. Next up, oh, this is a great name. Anxious Flamingo. Anxious Flamingo's given us 5 stars, and the subject is the name of our show. And here's the review. My favorite podcast to start the day. Freddie and Jeff seem like good dudes. We are good dudes. Both are big wrestling fans who keep their opinions honest, but in a positive way. Freddie's behind the scenes of when he worked in WWE is a cool feature that leads to some sick side quests. That's funny that you said it the way I would say it. Jeff's comedic background leads to some good laughs. It feels like I'm hanging out with friends talking wrestling. I've had a hard time I've had a hard time getting into WWE, so some episodes I'm just here for the ride. More AEW would be awesome. If you have to appeal to the masses or just aren't as big of AEW fans, I get it. I'm just as interested in hanging out and hearing how life is going for y'all. Look forward to the new season. Take care. Yo.
That's nice.
Anxious Flamingo, I totally hear you. If you were listening to us last year, you heard a lot more AEW. And then we got a listener review that said, hey, man, all you're doing is talking about AEW. You hit us with some WWE. And so I try to take people's critiques and criticisms to heart and implement that kind of stuff. So we have been talking more WWE. The only reason we haven't been talking as much AEW lately is because I don't feel that they've been focused that much on the character stories outside of like Ricochet and Swerve, and maybe one other, whereas WWE's got like 5 stories a week that it can hit you with. So we've been speaking about them a little bit less, just because I can't tell you how a match was. Like, I'm not a wrestler. I'm not anything. Like, what the fuck you want to know that for? I can comment more on like the stories and the promos and that kind of stuff. But I appreciate you. And if we can get more AEW in there, we will. Jeff, what do you think?
Yeah, it's tough. Like, I think that, we go in and out the way that the wrestling brands go in and out. So it's like, when WWE's the most popular thing on the market, like, we kind of tend to talk about that more. And when AEW's popping, then we like to talk about AEW more. But we will do wherever Alex, our fearless leader, guides us.
Yeah, blame Alex.
Yeah.
It's the best way to go.
Stay tuned for Unsanctioned Thursdays. You guys, we're going to get into more of your questions. It will be our final episode of the season, but this was our final episode of the regular airing Wrestling with Friends. On behalf of Jeff Dye and our awesome producer, Alex, we wish all of you a wonderful, wonderful time off as well. You can listen to old episodes if you want, or just keep watching wrestling the way we will. Peace.
This has been a production of iHeart's My Cultura Podcast Network. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, visit the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.